Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak are two immensely talented artists that started their careers on two completely different sides of the 2010s. Bruno Mars beginning his career with Doo-Wops and Hooligans in 2010 all the way up to 24 Karat Magic in 2016, and Anderson .Paak beginning his career in 2014 moving all the way up to Ventura in 2019. Both artists have displayed an immense talent both in their vocal capabilities, their music production, and their lyrical prowess. But they also showcase an interest in the sound of funk. So what happens when you take the production stylings of Anderson .Paak and the vocal capabilities of Bruno Mars and put them together? You get the incredible funk soul R&B duo of Silk Sonic. An Evening with Silk Sonic, technically speaking, is the debut album of Silk Sonic. However, it should be noted that this is the fourth studio album for Bruno Mars and the fifth studio album for Anderson .Paak. This album gives me a very familiar sort of Soul Train style. We get our host Bootsy Collins introducing most of the songs on this record, even being featured on songs like After Last Night and Blast Off. And it feels like An Evening with Silk Sonic is more like a program rather than an album. And don't even get me started about some of the songs on this record because, ooh! Leave a Door Open was the first song to get released from this album and is the perfect introduction into what Silk Sonic is supposed to be. We get Anderson .Paak, the rapper slash R&B neo-soul singer, and Bruno Mars, who is the R&B soul pop vocalist on this album. The two both display these talents while also offering something that we've never heard from these two artists before. Then we get songs like Fly As Me, After Last Night, 777, and Skate that just offer more of that excellent feel. I think a song that I really want to highlight, a song that I really wanted to highlight was the third single to come out of this album, Smokin Out The Window. This is probably a song that's been stuck in your head since about Thanksgiving. I just love how this song makes this tragic story of a breakup sound so funky and so energetic. Kind of like what The Weeknd does on several projects. But they keep the tone so well balanced here. You know it's kind of a sad song here, but it's something you will always end up dancing to because it's just so funky, fresh. So if you can't tell by how enthusiastic I am about this album, I really like this album. But like most projects, it isn't without its faults. I will say that while it is really great to see these artists doing a sort of return to form style with their music, I think it's something that's already been done to death in music. It makes the album at times feel a little stale, and some of the way these songs sound remind me a lot, and I mean a lot, of artists like the Commodores and Earth, Wind & Fire. Notably Earth, Wind & Fire. While many casual listeners will enjoy this album and then some, in the end it will probably just make you want to revisit those older artists from the past, leaving this album to be memorable, but not exactly something that will truly stick with you. And it was after listening to this album that I was less excited to hear another potential Silk Sonic album, and I was more excited to hear something like a new Bruno Mars or Anderson .Paak album. Do not mistake anything of what I'm saying here. I thought this album was tremendous, but I think it just lacks in some kind of originality. An originality that I think could make this album something super, super, super unique. I certainly think this is one of the best albums to come out of 2021, but it lacks that uniqueness factor to push it over the edge for me. An Evening with Silk Sonic will be getting a 4 out of 5 scratches. This is a very hard rating to give, especially because I did really, really love this album, and majority of the songs on here are flawless. While I certainly believe this album was an incredible project, one that I think you will really want to go back to a few times, I think that's just it. You're only going to want to go to it a few times. Afterwards, you're just going to want to start listening to Earth, Wind & Fire and the Commodores again, which, I mean, isn't a bad thing. In fact, that's pretty awesome. You want to go back to the old school, but it kind of takes away from the uniqueness factor of this album and why I don't exactly think it's unique, and I think it does kind of pander to nostalgia at times. Still, I certainly think this is one of the best albums to come out of 2021, and I highly recommend you check this album out.